I've actually been back. I went for the Saturday show of the event, which was in Hartford, Connecticut. The event was Saturday and Sunday. I just went up for the day for Saturday. I did have to leave early. I didn't get there as early as I wanted to be, but I still spent a good amount of hours there to see what it's all about. I've never been to this convention before, and while I didn't get to do everything, I still understood what it's about, and I still got a lot of really cool stuff out of it. Before I go into what I actually got from the convention, I will just briefly describe about the experience of it from what I had seen. A lot of tables available for not only people's artwork, but also toys and video games. Some of them even had video game cleaning. Some of them had video game trading. So if you brought ones there, you could trade them. That was cool. I didn't actually bring any to trade, but now I kind of wish I did. Probably could have done something with a few of them. Um, and you're going to be surprised. Even though it's a video game convention, not a lot of video game stuff to talk about for this video. Sort of. Well, a little bit. Here. We'll explain it in a little bit. So, they did have an arcade. I was encouraged to check it out, but I didn't have a lot of time and didn't want to spend too much time at the arcade, even though I do like playing through those, especially because they're free arcades, so you can just really pick up on any system. I didn't really bother with that because I wanted to get to a couple areas and other people first. They had panels running throughout the event as well, but I didn't really check out any of them. And when I did get there, I was a little perturbed because the one that was going on was some kind of wrestling tournament or something. And while I have seen that before at other video game conventions, it's not something that I was really keen on watching. But it also didn't help in the fact that it was right next to where a lot of the vendor booths were. So even if I wanted to check out a certain vendor or an artist, I would overhear that thumping of the wrestling mat constantly. And I got a little shaken up with that. It was just a little unnerving, and I didn't get used to that noise just suddenly happening. But hopefully not a thing that would affect it, all the time. It didn't happen the entire event, which is good. For what I did see, I think there were even a couple indie developers. I think there were a couple of other games to play here and there. I remember seeing one person that, while she had a booth, she was also playing a game at the booth and was very well dressed up. There was a lot of cosplay that was there. Unfortunately, I didn't get any photos of the cosplays that I saw, but I still liked a couple of them just by passing by. I should have spoken up. It's a problem that I have. I know some people, they just want to dress and they don't want photos, and they're more than welcome to do that. So I don't know. I just have to figure out by asking sometimes. I've had that before in other events where I didn't ask and I kind of regretted it later. Where it's like, oh well, I could have got a photo, not even photo with them, but of them. Of their work, their craftsmanship. I do enjoy when people make their own things, which is kind of a big subject for today's video. So, as far as the things that I was looking for a whole bunch of different video games and even some peripherals, and I didn't really find as much as I wanted to. Funny enough, not too long ago, I had picked up the earlier part of this month, I picked up the N64 box that came with the Atomic Purple controller. And this is something that I hadn't really seen that much between eBay and Too Many Games in June. This convention had at least 2 to 3 people selling it. And I was like, wow, okay, now it's coming out of the woodwork. But they're also selling it with the actual systems, which I didn't really need because I still have working ones. And that would have been twice the cost at least. So, I made a good call when I did. So, moving on from there, I did actually pick up some video games. But I also picked up some toys. And I also picked up a lot of artwork. And I also picked up some other video game stuff. So we'll kind of go in that order as to what I picked up from Retro World Expo this year. I actually went out in the curiosity of what I had heard about it the year before. I still wanted to see a bit about it myself. I do want to explore other video game conventions in the area. And when I say the area, I mean the East Coast, really. So, oh, there's my foot. Whoops. So, let's go through it one at a time. So let's start off with the video games that I did get. these were two video games that I was looking for quite some time. These were ones that I grew up with, I played extensively, and one of them I nearly completed. But if not for one Pokemon and its evolved form, I would have had 100% on this game, and it's one of the few games in all of video games that I've ever played that I want to 100% the game. That is a rarity for me. Like, maybe 10 games currently on that list as it is right now. And that's not, that's saying a lot because I own hundreds across multiple systems. So, other ones I would just want to play through, get to the ending, whatever. That's fine. I don't want to complete it. It's fine. One of these games, I do want to complete it. And it's something that I feel would be a really satisfying thing that childhood me would appreciate if we could finally get that done. Unfortunately, though, this game was overwritten at some point, and my save file is back to 0. So I have to play through the entire thing over again. And according to this game, there's apparently a glitch after playing it the first time around that the battery runs dry. So it may not access all the features like it used to, which is a bit more upsetting trying to play the game again. However, there's also another issue that rose. And there's also the other game that's in here that had the same issue where I played it for a lot. I didn't play it to completion. There was still a bunch of it I did not get done with it, but still enjoyed for what it was. But the other game, so I had a friend several years ago, and he and I had exchanged things back and forth. We went to conventions and so on. There's a whole bunch of camaraderie back then. But there was also a time when he was more persuasive than he should have been, and I'm not going to go into all the drama about that, but in short, there was a time in which he borrowed a couple of the Pokemon games from me, and I lent them to him. But after we had a falling out as friends, I didn't see those Pokemon games return. And I don't know if he necessarily owns them. I'm not going to accuse him without any proof. It's just a possibility that's out there, but I'm not banking on that. But I do know that I am also scatterbrained, and sometimes I misplace things. So it's very possible I could still own these and just don't have them with the rest of the Game Boy games. Even though I've looked several times for years trying to find them, and I can't even remember sometimes which ones. I get them confused with some other ones, which I actually turned out I do have. So at Retro World Expo, I did pick up 2 games that I thought were missing. Just to be sure, just to cover it, just in case. And I've also had times before where I buy the replacement of something and then the original turns up anyways. So who knows? Maybe they'll just conjure them back into existence. So I bought authentic copies of Pokemon Leaf Green and Pokemon Sapphire. Sapphire was the one that I had nearly 100% completed, if not for 1 or 2 Pokemon. And Leaf Green I played for a while as a kid, but did not get anywhere close to completing. And I did make sure that both of these were authentic cartridges, that they were the real deal, because there are reproductions and bootlegs and things like that people have made over time, because Pokemon's so popular, there's bound to be someone ripping them off. And not from Nintendo officially, I've already looked over these cartridges. I have not tested them in the system yet, but I will shortly after this. And here's Leaf Green. So here's the wonderful thing. After I brought these home, this was 90. This was 65. Not pleasant, but a little lower than the going rate for them. I think normally this goes around 80 or more. So a little bit of a bullet to bite, but there are very few Pokemon games that I do want to own or reclaim like this. So I was willing to go for it. Turns out I already have Sapphire. I went through all my Game Boy stuff again, and I already found Sapphire in the list. Okay. I did not find Leaf Green, however. The one that I'm missing, that instead of missing Sapphire, I'm actually missing Emerald. So Emerald and Leaf Green were the ones I was originally missing. I still have Yellow, I have Sapphire, I have Ruby, and I have Fire Red. So, okay, I'll work with that. At least I got one that I did want to get, that I do need to get, instead of getting a duplicate. And then I have one that I do enjoy. It's one of my favorites, but I don't need a second copy. Unless I want to play two different files of the same game. I'm not really sure why. I don't know why I would do that. So maybe this one might sit better as a trade item. I can work towards Emerald, which I know goes about $100 or so now. I don't know. Maybe even more. So, a little miffed about that one. I should have kept better record of it before the convention. There are a bunch of other video game things on my wanted list, which I could talk about some other time or in other social media, but they were something that I had on my mind for a long time and decided maybe now I can finally take care of this. So I'm going to put those up there. And that's all the video game things I picked up at Retro World Expo. I kid you not. The only two video game things I picked up. I almost picked up Mario Party 6 because the story with that one, I owned this game way back in the day. I got it for Christmas. I got it with the GameCube mic in the whole box set and whatever. However, some while into using it, like a year or so into playing it, the game could no longer read. I don't remember exactly when, but I know that there was a point in which I would put it into the GameCube or even the Wii, and it would not read the disc after starting up the system. And I've taken it to at least 2 video game places since then to try to get it cleaned or, polished up. Maybe it was something that was just scratched on it. And it turns out that there's a middle ring in the GameCube disc for Mario Party 6 that doesn't work. Like, it's actually just scrubbed so much away that it's unreadable, which is a real shame. So, can't really play that game. And because of that, having not played it in a long time, I actually can't remember much from it, even though I do remember enjoying it when I did get to play it. I love the day and night cycle of the different boards. And it's one of the few Mario Party games that I really enjoy, not just because I grew up with it, but I like the mechanics that go into it. So, a couple years ago, 2018, I did buy a copy of the game again, and it wasn't super duper expensive then, but I do remember it being like, okay, well, this is something that I need to replace, and I just gotta fork it over and work with it. So, I did get a working copy. That copy did not last me very long, however, because there was a post I made before. I made it before as a video on here. I traded a bunch of video game stuff for Lego because the person who was asking for this on Facebook Marketplace had the Futuron monorail. And I was like, yes, I will trade video game stuff for that because it's way easier than trying to buy even if it was used. And I mean, even in used condition, it was way easier to trade video games for that than to outright buy it. So I traded away all my N64 boxes, which weren't many, but they were in good shape. I've been kind of sitting for a while. I traded away my Pokemon Game Boy boxes. I traded away Mario Party 6 and one of the GameCube microphones to go with it. I don't remember if there was anything else, but those are the main things that I remembered. And I got the Futuron monorail out of that, and 2 Lego playmats I have rarely seen. So that was a good thing. Even if the Futuron monorail was a bit in used condition, didn't have all the parts to it, some parts were broken, but the basic monorail track and cars were working, that was worth it. So I currently don't have a copy of Mario Party 6 available that actually plays. I did find a couple of them at Retro World Expo, but they were going 90 or above. I think 95 might have been the cheapest that I had seen, and I was a little on the edge about that. I'm like, I don't know if I want it that hard. That's a bit much, especially considering the Pokemon games I already shelled out for. So, passed on it for now. Who knows? Maybe I'll come back to it for Mario Party 6. It's, I have like a wanted list of games that I didn't grow up with, and then I have a wanted list of games I did grow up with. And there's not many left on the ones I grew up with, but still very meaningful. And unfortunately, they're at the bottom of the list because they're more valuable. All the other ones were easier to obtain in some way or another. And much less expensive because of that. Alright, moving on from there, I did pick up a whole bunch of toys. There were a couple of toy vendors that were at the convention, and I found one vendor that had a whole bunch of stuff that seemed kind of appealing to me. So, I went through with it. A couple of them were actually Lego related as well. So to start things out, 2 Lego writing system pens I have never seen before. And I've owned a bunch of them when I was a kid. I still own a bunch of them. I think I reviewed one of them on the channel before, probably a couple of years ago actually. Maybe even going back like 6 years or so ago. Maybe even further. Yeah, quite a while ago. But these pens, in particular, I have never seen before. These have their own shell to them. So, generally, these kinds of pens, you have a whole bunch of pieces that you can slide on this part of it. Is like a little metal piece that comes out from the pen cap in order to slide pieces in and customize it. All the ink is stored inside of here, and it's kind of like a fountain pen where you just twist it in place in order to use the pen or not. These in particular have different inscriptions, like actually have more customization based on letters, and they fit inside of a tube inside of this whole thing. I've never seen that before. I did not know that it existed. Oh my god. I also looked these up on Bricklink while I was at the convention, and it turns out that the hieroglyphics one, the one right here, $30 on Bricklink. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get both of these for pretty much the price of one. So why not? So they do have the one that's called Classic, which has all different kinds of alphabet letters and a couple of bits of punctuation. There are even some more letters inside of here. It's just the pen is turned around. And then we have the hieroglyphics one. This one I thought might have been Adventurer's merchandise, you know, Johnny Thunder and all that. It's kind of, but not exactly. It doesn't advertise that it is. But it is from the same era that Adventurer's merchandise was available. It was from 1999. I think I might say it on the other side. So, technically, yeah, I know you guys love when I talk about Johnny Thunder merchandise, especially obscure Johnny Thunder merchandise. It doesn't, you know, float around as much. But, yeah, I'll probably do a dedicated video just based on this one and see if the pen ink still actually works. But, yeah, I thought it was worth trying this out, picking it up. There is an Adventurer's pen separate from this that actually does have the faces of characters from the theme on it. And other objects. But that one's cool on its own for having hieroglyphics, and I actually wonder if it's the same translation method that they used for the sets, because there was actually one used with the sets. There was one on a website. I still have that bookmarked, and I can't believe that website still works after 20-something years. That's amazing. So yeah, those are cool little pens. There was also a bin that this seller had where anything that was in the bin was 2 for $5. And a whole bunch of Happy Meal toys were in there, but there's also a couple other stuff that I found interesting. So, of those things, I picked up Lugia from the Burger King Happy Meal promotion for Pokemon 2000. Each of these toys would have their own stand to go with them underneath the little plastic shell, and as you press them into the stand, they will do different actions. So some of them will actually move parts on the model, or they'll squirt water if they're a water-themed one, or they might light up if it's electric-themed, and things like that. So this one, for Lugia, his head tilts. Not really exciting. I was really hoping that maybe his wings would move or something like that. He's a very, you know, expressive figure, expressive character, you know, when he flies. But, hey, it's Lugia. That's not one I have, so that's pretty cool on its own. I do have a whole bunch of other ones. I don't know when I'm going to talk about them. I don't even know if it's going to be its own video, but I always have ideas for videos. Who knows? I've wanted to do a Pokemon retrospective video, which would encompass a lot of stuff, and Pokemon merchandise especially. So who knows? Maybe I'll return for that one. The other thing that I picked up to make the $5 was this Lego Penguin Ornament, which normally runs for $7 or more on Bricklink. And that was a deal for me. It's still sealed. It still has all the parts in the bag itself, so I can build this up brand new. And I like penguins. You know, penguins are my favorite animal, in case you didn't know. I don't have every Lego penguin yet. We'll see. There's always a chance. But I will gravitate towards penguin things very easily in pretty much any media ever. The other thing that I did, I picked up 2 more of these for $5. They were both Happy Meal toys based on Sonic in different ways. So Sega had a whole bunch of these LCD screen ones. I actually have a couple of them. And I think they might have had 2 waves of them, because this was different from the other wave. And for those who are in the know, yes, this is the one with the Vietnamese commercial of poorly rendered Sonic characters playing each of the sports that these are based on. This is it. This is what it came from. The Rouge and Amy tennis. Or yeah, I think it was tennis. This one may need a new battery, however. It does turn on, and I have had the LCD screen move before, but it's a little hard to tell because it's kind of doing a default thing right now. Even if I press the buttons on it, it doesn't seem to be engaging the game right now. I don't know. I have to figure out how to open that up, replace the batteries, and so on. And hopefully still play it. I think I can find the other ones, not too difficultly. So that'll be fun to put them together. I did it in a low-key way. Kind of want to complete all of them. So we'll see. And the other one here is a classic Robotnik in the style of Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, or the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog TV show. He's got a little hovercraft that has little wheels on it, little cheetah wheels. And it's one of those kinds of toys that you wind it up, it'll run along a table or any other kind of tall surface, and it will engage the third wheel when it reaches an end of a table. So when it turns to a corner, it'll turn around and, keep steering around. It may not work so well. I have tried it a little bit here before, and just kind of like, it's a 30-year-old toy. So it does stutter a little bit. Actually, funny enough, this toy says on the bottom it's from 1993. It's exactly the same age as my brother. Like, it's the same year, 1993. Way to go. So, I also picked up from this vendor another item that's not a toy. So now we're moving away from the toys and we're going to start going into some other categories. But this was a cool item for not that much, $10. This is a Club Nintendo reward. This was something that they had back in the day as a rewards program. There are some videos about it which really document all different kinds of rewards that they've done. And think of it like, for those Lego fans in the audience, it's like VIP, but for Nintendo products. So you buy Nintendo games, Nintendo published games, they'll give you a code inside of the game case itself to use on the website, and you can get points from it. The more points you accumulate, the bigger prizes that you can get out of it. You can actually get real physical rewards, you can get digital rewards, you can get games out of it. And they kind of do a system like that now, a little bit differently in terms of how it's all structured. But, yeah, and in some ways, a little inferior. I have picked up some through there, though. But this one was really cool. Just a nice little history of the handheld systems that Nintendo released. And this is pretty much the entire handheld history up to the Switch. Like, even though this thing was last published around 2011 or so, I think. Yeah, copyright 2011. Even though this thing was last published in 2011, this is still very complete. Not many other handhelds have released after Nintendo 3DS. Like, new 3DS, 3DS XL, pretty much fall into the same category as this, with minor adjustments here and there, in my opinion. The Nintendo Switch being a hybrid between a home console and a handheld console, kind of counts that way. So each of these have their own index cards, where it shows a nice artwork of the system itself, and on the back of them would give some history about it, some of the features it had, the impact, and it's really cool. It's a nice little easy read that I can go through. Doesn't take up a lot of space. It's like its own little book. All about the handhelds from Nintendo. I actually didn't grow up with too many of them, but I know of pretty much all of them. So I do have a Game & Watch. I never had any of the original Game Boys or Game Boy Colors. Well, I did own a Game Boy Color for a little bit, maybe like a year. I had a lime green one, a couple years ago. My first one was a Game Boy Advance SP. I never had a DS. I've definitely seen people with Game Boy Micros tons of times. Yeah, pretty much the DS library, didn't have too many. But much later, I did grow up with not grow up with. I owned more recently, I should say. I did have a 3DS and a 3DS XL at two different times. So while I don't have a lot of history between these, I have my cousin who grew up with Game Boy Advance. I knew of people who had Game Boys and Game Boy Colors. I did visit the one in New York in the Nintendo World at New York, where the very infamous Game Boy that like survived a war and still plays. Like that thing's incredible. And I have a Game & Watch that I got basically for free with a big lot of Lego many years ago, and it still runs. It's great. Surprisingly, they don't put anything in here about the Pokemon Mini or the Nintendo Classics, which is like LCD screen, basically, games, but, you know, much like the Game & Watch one is. But yeah, still a cool book. Very nice little condensed history. All right, moving on from there, we're going to talk about artwork. I think there's a lot of artwork that I have to share here from all different sources, all different people. And I still didn't touch upon everybody from the convention itself. I always appreciate people's artwork. I think there's a lot of really cool styles out there, aside from the official stuff that really pops, really does something, unique and interesting. I follow a lot of artists online, and I've even commissioned a few of them for different things. I love it. And I definitely took advantage of that with Retro World Expo. Much more than video games. Again, video games is such a small portion compared to everything else, but everything else kind of has video game themed stuff to it eventually, so it's not completely lost here. All of the artists will be linked in the description down below if you want to find more of their artwork, if you want to find the ones that I feature in here, if you want to commission them, whatever you want to do. Please check them out, at least just to visit through their portfolio. There's a lot of cool stuff, and I like a lot of these styles, and I've liked a bunch of them for a while. Some of them I might even continue with. Excuse me. Now let's roll on. So, first one, unfortunately I don't have the business card with them right now. So I do feel bad. I'm very sorry that I cannot acknowledge them vocally on camera right now, but they will be in the description down below. The point the other way. Down below. It will be in the description or in the pinned comment section. I passed by their table and I was like, oh, those are really cool. So I'm a sucker for stickers. I love artwork in different... I love stickers with different artwork on them, and this one is no exception. We have an octopus that's wrapped around a lighthouse. It's got some nice border to it, almost shaped like a boat. I love the theming in here. And you guys know I like my shore stuff, even if I'm living by the shore. I'm not tired of it. It looks so cool. I love this. Very unique. Very, very well done. I can tell that that's something that would have taken quite some time to line up everything. Now, I also have this Gravity Falls hat. I have picked up more than one of some of these pieces of artwork and gave them to a friend of mine that I saw later that same Saturday from after visiting Retro World Expo. So this one I actually picked up 2 of them and gave that one to a friend. And I got a matching navel star to go with it. I only got one of them, I think. Yeah. It was just 2 of the hats. But still, it's some really cool artwork. I did get a photo of their business card that was on the table because they ran out of business cards, but it's no worries. I can still acknowledge them down in the description below. Cannot emphasize that enough. Next artist I have here is actually one that was recommended by another artist that I saw at the show, which I will talk about in a little bit. But this one, I did still want to check out their table, see what was there, and I was very happy with what I saw. I was... To be fair, I probably could have walked away with more stuff on their table, but I restrained myself a bit, and I still really like what they did. And I like their style. I will definitely check out more of their stuff. I believe I'd seen 1 or 2 of their stuff before the convention and just didn't know who it was until I got there. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. So this artist is Robert Nelson, aka Darrow. I'm gonna mispronounce this. I'm sorry, Darrow. The Rob Robber at the Rob Robber there. I think the art table was like Rob's art stuff, but yeah, it was Robert Nelson. I really like the style in here. Very cutesy, very simplistic, but still very, very unique. Some of these art pieces of art that he had at his table were only as prints only as stickers, some of these, shirt designs. I would like them in another form. I think they're really cool artwork, but I couldn't get myself to every single one of them in a certain form. So, no hard feelings, but I would definitely pick it up some other way. I also just realized this now. Unregistered Hypercam 2 on the business card. That's funny. I totally get that. Some of you might not get that. So anyways, one thing that I really enjoyed from his table is that he had several different pieces of fan art from OKKO Let's Be Heroes. And this is one of my favorite modern TV shows. I've watched everything except for one episode. It really bugs me I can't watch that one episode. And I really think it deserved much better than what it got when it was originally airing. And I'm always happy to see fan art from this show. I have maybe once drawn something from there, but it's been a while, and I don't really do drawing the way a lot of these people do. They do really good stuff. But casually doing it and enjoying it is still fine. But I'm really happy that this person made a whole bunch, and I did pick up a couple of them. Not all of them. They had an Enid poster, or print. I'm like, if that was a sticker instead of a print, yes. Or if it was even a smaller print, yes. But, yeah. There was even a couple of the rapper ones that I liked. You may have even seen one of them on the card itself. So I picked up 3 stickers. We got Sonic, because I'm a sucker for Sonic. And stickers. Why not? A little perturbed face on him. That looks really cool. Very characteristic. And several of the characters from the show. We got KO. We got Carol. And I keep forgetting her name. But she's the news lady. But she's very cute. They're all very well done. I really like the style. Would love to see other characters drawn by this person, by Rob. This is awesome. I'm very happy to see this. And I think it was the only one there that had that show specifically. He was also the only one that had Doodle Jump, according to him. So I was like, okay. Yeah, you know what? These are cool. Doodle Jump isn't my game, but I still like what you did here. He also had the Famicom mascot as a whole piece with like a couple different stickers on one sheet. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I said it there, but I think that was actually really cool. Because it does have a personality of its own. And you could see that personality in how this person drew it. It was well done. Alright. Let's move on. I have another artist here. That show all the things yet. Taste for Coffee. This was an artist that I met at the show once again. Had not known any of these 3 beforehand. But seeing them at the show, having a little conversation with them, it was very nice. And I like their stuff. So this is where you check them out. I see more of their stuff sometime later. But I got 3 things here. They had a series of stickers, but they also had these square portraits that some of them were hand-drawn, some of them were digitally drawn. And they had a deal with these in which you could buy 2, get 1 free. I was like, you know what? There's a whole bunch of them I like. The third one was always a hard one because there were a couple of them I liked, but I would try to choose which one I liked the most. So this was actually the free one. This was the drawing of Dr. Eggman or Robotnik, and I think it was very, really expressive. They were actually surprised that I picked this one over Sonic. Well, I don't have a shortage of Sonic stuff, but I do like that there is the way that they had drawn Eggman here. I think this worked out really well. I like the dynamic, shading that's done in here. Look at me using art terms. I went to art classes once. Anyways, the other 2 that I did buy were Mario and Luigi. These look like great portraits. See, all 3 of these look like ones that I could just frame and put on a wall. Like in a house, I mean, I'm in a house right now, so yeah. But I mean, it looks like a homely portrait, They look great. I like the style with them. I like the cut of your jib. Ouija. Alright, moving things along, I got 3 more artists. Let's go on to the next one that I had not known until the show, and surprisingly, really enjoyed. I was very ecstatic once I realized who it was and what they did. I don't remember the name entirely. That's one thing I will have to say, like, description. So, I remember the first name, Steve. I don't remember the last name, unfortunately. He does have it written on here, though. But this is an artist who has worked with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles merchandise for a long time. And he's done all different kinds of artwork for it, or collaborating with someone else to make the artwork. This one in particular, he has a print of his art that he autographed, and I don't get autographed stuff normally, and visiting guest tables is kind of hit or miss for me at conventions most of the time. This one, I was happy when I saw it. And aside from the fact that he had a huge banner standing up of the artwork itself, and I was like, wait, you have my attention now. So, he did entirely the artwork for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. This was an NES game port of the classic arcade game itself. I love this game. This is hands down one of my favorite NES games, and I still haven't beaten it after 20-something years. But I still love this game, and it wouldn't have made me a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan so early if this didn't exist. Or if I didn't get access to this. Honestly. But I always loved looking at this artwork when I rented the game from my library and seeing the little Pizza Hut coupon that was inside of there. Normally it would have been in this area that would advertise about it. But I do like he kept this open to fit the autograph. That was very cool. And drawing it in the same style as the turtles here. Unfortunately, when this thing got packaged and on its way home, this thing did get a little bit torn. Or not torn. It got folded a bit in my bag, but I don't know. I'll figure it out. I actually do want to put this next to the arcade game, or even next to my NES or something like that, because that would be just really cool. Even though this is official artwork, I got to meet the guy who did this. Yes, it's awesome. And I remember at Too Many Games this past year in 2022, I saw a little bit of the video game gallery. They had the original artwork for tons of classic games like Yo-Noid. They had tons of classic games, original framed artwork from the artist available there. And I believe Steve also had a binder that was full of original artwork and the original sketches for a lot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, designs and things like that. I mean, he didn't make them for the comics. He mostly worked the merchandise stuff, but still incredible part of that fandom. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that experience. I got a photo with him as well. Unexpected celebrity moment, I guess. But I really liked that one. I have two more artists to get to, and one of them has been sitting at my foot for way too long without introduction. This one you've probably seen through my social media, and not just because I've retweeted a whole bunch of their stuff, but because I've actually commissioned artwork from them several times. And I think it's the current profile. It's been the profile picture a couple of times. I think it is currently, as of recording this video. I've taken some of the commissions and worked them back into other content that I've made, or even live streams and things like that, and hopefully more beyond that. But I still enjoyed their work as it is. And funny enough, I got to learn about them in 2020 after I had just gotten into Animal Crossing New Horizons. I found their artwork on Twitter and started checking out the other stuff that they had created up to that point. I was like, you know what? I like this style. This is cool. And like seeing all different kinds of things. I follow them. I still keep up with them. They have their own webcomic called Platinum Dreams. I've read everything of it. I have the hard copy of it. I really enjoyed this person. And it was also very nice to meet them in person as well at the convention. So let's go into the artwork I picked up from Paper Dawn. Check them out. All the things. And that's the back. I even keep up with the streams, and we even had a funny conversation where it's like he has a lot, he's been a lot into video games and has been leaning into Lego recently. And I'm kind of in the opposite way. I've been into Lego a lot, and not that I'm drifting away from it, but trying to refocus into video games, like ones I grew up with, trying to play them again or create content based off of them. Even this video, and going to the conventions for video games and so on. But so it's really fun. I really enjoy the conversation with them, and as well as getting to see them on live streams and such. So I picked up a bunch of artwork from them, and some of it is not here because once again I had bought extra stuff that I sent to my friend after the convention. So, not all of it is going to appear here. There was one thing in here that I don't have, but the other ones, I do have my own copies of them. So we'll work from that. I'm going to start things off with probably the most obvious thing that I had to go and get from them. And that was each of these prints of Lego themes. Lego Classic themes. So we have a Lego Classic Castle and Classic Space print in here. This was amazing. And I really hope more people gravitate to this, because aside from the Legoism of it, I love this style. I love this dude. This is amazing. He did such a good job with each of these, and it's so nice to have them in hand. And this is the kind of stuff I want to put up in the Lego room, even more than the official the official Lego posters and magazines and whatever. I want this kind of stuff from people, from artists, independents. Well done. So we have one in here from Classic Space with Galaxy Explorer in the background, one of the little cars from one of the Classic Space sets. We've got the pink one from Benny's Space Squad, and then all the traditional, most of the traditional colors in here. It would be awesome if they made more of them. I love the expressions too, just so neat, and putting things together. It's cute, it's so good. It gives me good, warm feelings seeing their artwork. And also gives me nice chill feelings too. Like, not cold, but like calm, Chill is the word I usually think of when I think of Paper Dawn artwork. So, there we go. We got Castle in here. We got classic ghosts and skeletons, but we also have a Lion Knight, aka Crusaders, Queen Leonora from Knights Kingdom 1, and Basil the Batlord from Fright Knights. And a little bit of a portrait of some of the castles in the background. I love the way that they tried to emulate the back artwork of some of the Lego sets. Really nicely done here. So I had to go for those first and foremost, because I'm the Lego guy, of course. But there's plenty more. I also picked up, they had 2 different sizes of print, and I mentioned before how there was somebody that had a large print of something that I would have preferred a smaller print. Well, this was one case where the small print was available. Of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I loved this show growing up. I would love to watch the show again if I could. And honestly, I've been thinking about this show a lot throughout the summer. When I was growing up, I played the Big Awesome House Party game, or Big Fat Awesome House Party. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was a large MMO game. From the Cartoon Network website. You could design your own imaginary friend, walk around the house, meet all the characters from the show, and do little activities in different rooms and things like that. I played that game during the summer. I distinctly have a memory of this, sitting on the back porch of the house, listening to the waves in the background, and I had the computer on. I'm playing the game. It was awesome. And I still think about that a little bit here and there. For those who follow me on Twitter, I have a series called Maniacs Memories. That was the first memory I posted. I saw that basically started that series, and I'm already like 100 posts in. That's awesome on its own. So yeah, Foster's Home means a lot to me, and I'm really happy to have this cool artwork and print based off of it. Next up, whole bunch of stickers. These are whole sticker sheets. For right now, I'm not sure where they're going to go. And many stickers, they got to figure out where they're going to go. But at least for right now, it's cool that they have their own whole page to go together. So 2 of these, I bought 2 copies, in which I gave the other, 1 copy of each to a friend of mine. But I bought these ones based off of Ace Attorney. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the series. So I've only played through some of the first game with my friend, and I may not know every single character. I don't know if I'm spoiled by anything looking at it here, but I still like the expressions. I still like the way everybody was drawn. It's so cool. And I decided to get 2 of them. I also have another sticker sheet that I don't have here. Well, I actually do have it. It's probably actually right near here, actually. I picked it up a while ago for myself from the Etsy store for Paper Dawn. But at the convention, I picked up another copy of it for my friend based off of Sonic characters. And that one, I don't have it here, but yeah. Because I said I gave it to them. Words! So these are cool. These are very nice. I felt having one sheet for myself wasn't enough. I wanted to have another sheet for more expressions and having more of those little benches and tables and accessories. And I'll get to the other characters eventually. Another sticker sheet that I did pick up for myself is based on Ms. Pac-Man. Very nicely done here. I love Pac-Man. I love the Pac-Man series. There are actually a bunch of games I've played and a bunch I haven't played. And I've been meaning to make a Pac-Man retrospective video for a long time. A long time. Every once in a while I will talk about it. But I really do love the way this artwork came out. And then funny enough, even though I was only there on Saturday and there was an arcade machine right next to their booth, Sunday they moved the arcade machine and they swapped it with a Miss Pac-Man unit, which really made Paper Dawn very happy from what I saw on Twitter. I was like, yes, there we go. Well done. That's awesome. Just by coincidence. So this is great. Great to have here. And the last 2 things, well, 4 things, I guess, technically. The last 4-ish things that I got were some key charms. These are little keychains to add on, and each of these has their own expressions on each side. I picked up 2 copies of the Parappa the Rapper and Jamalami one, so the other copy is with my friend, like I said before. The other side of it shows them a little worried, like they're getting their notes wrong. So I like that expression on there. Again, these are great expressions. I really like these. And then there was one that I picked up based on Shantae. I forget what the other character on the other side was because I haven't played the Shantae games that much myself. But my friend has played through most, if not all, of the Shantae games. So I knew it would mean a lot to him, and he enjoyed that keychain very much. This one is based off of Blue's Clues. Picked that one up. And it's got Magenta on the back. Very cute. Alright, we're almost there. I actually before doing this live stream, I did record this video on my phone, and around 40 minutes or so, I ran out of time. I am stretching it a little bit further here because of the live stream, but I do still want to give the time and appreciation for all the different artists. And there's still one more that I need to talk about. I think you know. I don't know if I need to introduce him. And I think you already know him. If you followed me, if you've been in the LEGO community, you probably know him already. But don't let the LEGO community part be the only way you know him. He does a lot of his own work on his own without LEGO attachment, and should be respected for that. I personally appreciate that stuff, even though it was the way that we met. So I'm gonna try to scooch a little bit of this over to make a little bit more space. Some of this may overlap. So in the moment, I'm gonna scoot these over. Oop, put the wrong one there. Keep them all together. There we go. Come on over. There we go. Oh, it looks like I have more space than I thought. Okay, I can move it here without losing it all. Underneath stuff. Cool. Good. Great. All right. Move this back a little bit. So, you know him. You'll enjoy him. He's actually like 2 tables over from where Paper Dawn was, so it's actually really funny that I was gonna go see Paper Dawn's table, and I looked to my left, just out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, wait, I know that table. I'm also in Hartford, Connecticut. I made a joke with people while I was going there, and I said, "Oh, I'm close enough. I could probably visit so and so." Well, I did, because he was at Retro World, and I totally forgot. So now we're talking Kevin Hinkle. Mr. Hinkle Draws, KevinAHinkle.com. He's got a brand new business card that he included. Not biscuit card. Brand new business card. Each of them, there's multiple of them. Like 20 different kinds of them, I think he said. With different pieces of his artwork on the back. So this one in particular is based off of one of his collaborations with... I'm gonna get the name of the company wrong. I'm not gonna try. But one of his collaborations, one of the 3 books that he has been working with this year. 3 books this year. Incredible. I am picking up all 3 of the books, by the way. And I also got this bookmark based on one of the other books with Brix O'Brien. And this is the Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits. Also picking that one up. I'm picking up all 3 of these books hardcover, by the way. Because, hell yeah. Let's do the thing. Very proud of him for all he's been doing up to this point, and that he's excelling. That he's pushing further. In the past couple of years that he's been independently making artwork online and engaging in all kinds of social media platforms, very happy with what he's been doing, especially considering where he's been. So this is amazing. I've picked up a whole plethora of things from him because that's just how I roll. That's what happens every time I visit. Or I pick up things from him in strides. It's not every time as soon as it comes out. I usually work up a whole bunch of it, whether it's through his store or in person, anything like that. This one I had personally left alone for a long time. And I waited and I waited and I waited. And I figured somebody from the LEGO community was going to see this and pick it up themselves. And when nobody did, and it was still available at Retro World, I said, I would like this, please. His last LEGO artwork. The last one he will make. Well, not the last one he made, but the last one he had available for purchase. He's not making LEGO artwork anymore. That's his own prerogative, and it's totally fine, and I totally understand about that. And again, I think he has much greater pursuits that don't have to involve with this. So that's great, on its own. The last one, Galaxy Squad, Insectoids, minifigure, full color, hand-drawn, and it's mine. He was very happy with that, and seeing that it was going to a good home. Now we move on, because a visit to Kevin and or helping with his booth is not complete without some stickers. So I picked up a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stickers. Starting things off right with Brix O'Brien, Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits. Got that sticker. And this one, Kevin chose specifically. There's a certain limited number of these stickers that he has available. And he gave me the lowest number that was available at that time, 25 out of 250. I appreciate that. I don't usually play the numbers game like that, 1 of 1 or whatever, but I still like that consideration. And I'm usually the times that I have had that before, even if it's not something I'm like drawn to specifically getting a low number or even one of the last numbers for value or whatever, this is still cool. I usually get something that's like middle of the range or later in the game, you know. It's like nice to have a low number. Next sticker, we have a Pokemon portrait of Squirtle Squad. It's so reflective. I have the regular Squirtle already, but I don't think I have the Squirtle Squad one. And this is so reflective, I can see my phone in here. You can see it like right between the eyes there. You can see the lenses of the phone. That's amazing. Well done. Well printed on that. Next one I have here, before the spooky season begins, we got a skull. I think I have the white outline one already. But even if I do have the black, can't have enough skulls, right? These are some of the newer ones. And this is, I think, the 3rd edition of Link from Legend of Zelda. No, it's not Zelda himself. Or herself. You know what I mean? This is awesome. This is a great upgrade. And again, in the past couple of years, even if he's redrawn the same character multiple times in this form, it's improved. Greatly improved over time. And I'm very proud of him. And I'm very proud of where it's going next, too. I'm not going to spoil it. The 5th one I have here, even though it's a series I have not played in a long time, or only watched... I actually did watch it back in 2020. I did watch, like, the first 2 seasons again. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yami Yugi. Specifically, that character. Yami Yugi is presented here. He's got the card in the background. Heart of the cards! Which Kevin and I have mentioned to each other on occasion for whatever reason. It's like, oh yeah, Heart of the Cards. And that's it. I totally didn't get 2 giant prints from him that I didn't have before. And they're certainly not based on any iconic video game or superheroes. Nah. Not at all. What is this? So, yes, I did pick up more prints. And while I have been a little hesitant on which prints to get or sizes of prints, I still have space. I'm just figuring out, like, okay, I like this artwork, and there may be other places that I can apply this than what I have now. I've been rearranging a lot with my rooms, so there are spaces available. And sometimes I can make better spaces of them. So I'm not dismissing the other ones earlier when I said that I could have picked up prints and I didn't, or whatever. It's just, I'm still working it out. But I still like this artwork nonetheless. Did still want to attempt with these other ones as well. So we have the Super Mario 64 one. This is based on one of the Bowser levels, as you can tell by the dark background. We even have Mario and Bowser in classic Super Mario Brothers fashion here, along the backside of each of these pillars. Loving the design there. He's only got 1 life. I like the overlap between different areas, and there's some action, there's some posing with this. You can tell it's not all flat. It's got angle to it. It's got great composition. That's the word I was looking for. I took an art class one time, so I also like that some of it's overlapping with the black bars in here, which is very neat. Just makes it more. Makes him feel more real. Makes it feel more out there, you know? And Mario's coming out of the screen. He's gonna drink the milk out of my fridge. Some of you have seen the Got Milk commercial. You know what I mean. I grew up with that commercial. I love that. It's like, oh, Mario's on TV. And he's drinking milk. It's basically my reaction as a kid. It's like, oh, okay. All right. So, and the other print that I have here is based on The Dark Knight. And this is such a clever poster. When I saw this posted online, I was like, yes. Yes, this is so cool. So good. All the way through. Honestly, I love this thing so much. Top to bottom, left and right, everything here. K, obviously, trying to represent Batman. Yes, traditionally it would be for King, but I think it also applies here for Knight. Dark Knight. That works. I like that. J, obviously, for Joker. And this works either way as a print. You can flip this thing over and you still get the cityscape. You still get the colors that go with the character. You know, the format of it looking like a giant playing card. Brilliant. Love this thing so much. I honestly don't know which way I want to frame this. I don't know which way I want to put this on a wall. I'll figure it out. I don't know. It's awesome. I almost kind of like it this way because it feels more in character of the Joker being upside down and almost twisted in a way. Like, again, the posing, the drapery, that's so cool. I don't know. I'll figure it out eventually. I'll just put that one down right there. Alright, we're almost done. I can't believe I'm taking an hour to do a haul, but Again, I want to give the appreciation and love and support where I can for all of these different people. And I honestly got more out of this than other elements of the convention itself because this was awesome. All awesome stuff. Now, I do have 3 more things before we're done. Now we're crossing the hour mark. So, I saw someone walking around the convention. I think I might have even seen a couple people walking around with with a shirt for the convention of Retro World Expo that was in the style of GTA, having all these little boxes and different characters in different boxes, the same kind of font work and things like that. That was cool. And it was done in a way that didn't, like, it wasn't directly a GTA or Grand Theft Auto, box art. It was done with all different kinds of video game characters in there. And there was even some Lego in there. And I was like, okay, that's cool that they acknowledged that. Wouldn't have expected that with all the other game characters, but yeah, sure. So I really like that. I wanted to pick up that shirt myself. So when I went to the booth, I asked if they had any available. And they did have some legacy shirts from previous shows. Apparently this was one of those legacy shirts. It wasn't the one that they brand new released for this show. So unfortunately they sold out. I was like, okay. I looked through the other designs. I was basically okay with just getting the one brand new for that show, the 2022 show. So that's what I did. And this one is still cool in its own way. I still like how it doesn't use a lot of colors, but still gets a lot across from the colors it does use. There's also a sort of mascot, I believe, with this. Almost a Captain N looking character that's been on a couple other Retro World Expo shirts in the past. So I like what that's going for. This monstrosity. I just realized what this was. Holy crap. That's awesome. In its own way. So it's got magenta, it's got azure or blue, and it's got lavender or purple as the only colors in here, aside from black. And that's awesome. That's enough. That covers it enough to be its own thing going on, still recognize everything from it, still having little details that stand out. That's really cool. I love when there's something that can use such minimal amount and still express itself greatly. So, to run through this, to test my knowledge, NES Advantage, Xbox 360, looks like the original Xbox 360, with the big hard drive on top of it, Sega Genesis 32X, it's got the Sonic and Knuckles lock-on cartridge. I don't know what that thing is underneath it, though. That one's kind of puzzling me. I'm not entirely sure what that thing is, but the Sega Genesis had a whole mess of stuff building onto itself as a console. Literally building. NES controller, Wavebird for the GameCube, PS1 controller to go with it, the original Game Boy, Atari joystick, Power Glove, Sega Dreamcast. That's awesome. That looks great. I haven't actually worn the shirt yet since I picked it up, but I still like the way this looks. If I do come across the GTA one, I would still like to get that, but for right now, that's still good. Now, the last and, well, actually, technically, the shirt was the last and final thing that I purchased from Retro World Expo because this is on my way out. But before that was something very remarkable. I was going back through, I had already went around a whole bunch of different tables and seeing different things, not just from vendors, but also I saw a couple people who were playing games, they're playing on cabinets, they're playing consoles, things like that. I didn't get a chance to see Lame Genie. I saw that they had a table there, and I meant to go to it, but I kept passing it, and then there was a point where they were out for a bit, so I was like, man, I missed them. But with that being said, I do enjoy Lame Genie. I do like the videos that they put up on YouTube, and the covers that they do are amazing. I love listening to those. But before I left, I went back to... I I went back to Kevin Hinkle, and I went back to Paper Dawn. I talked with them for a little bit because I said, hey, I'm on my way out, but still wanted to catch up for a little bit. I shared a couple of things that, some of this stuff they already saw that I picked up. And they both know about the Sapphire issue that I had in order to, why I got those. Kevin has known that for years. I mentioned it a while ago that Sapphire was a game that I adore. It's my favorite Pokemon game. I haven't played too many of them, but of the ones I've played, it's my favorite. And that's between handheld and home console. But it is absolutely my favorite. I would love to go back to 100% complete it and finally get that last Pokemon and evolve it. And that Pokemon has bugged me so much. It's been, ironically, it's one of my least favorite, if not the least favorite Pokemon in the game for me. But also one of the most memorable because of how it's so ridiculous in order to obtain it. I've also gotten to the point where I low-key, for a while, have wanted a plush of this Pokemon. And I kid you not. After I catch up with those artists, I turn around. There's a booth that has a whole bunch of Pokemon plushes. There's a big cage in front of that booth that has them all they're all mashed against each other. And the first thing I see out of that cage is a Pokemon that I actually do adore, and I adore every evolution of it. And I was like, well, I already have the starter for this one. I already have it at first evolution. It would be cool if I could get all three of them. And I don't care if they're not all on scale or whatever. Pokemon go out of scale all the time, even between games. It's fine. And so it's fine for the plushes as well. But I did pick up Grovyle with little to no hesitation. That was awesome. So I can fit this with my Trico, and I still need to look for a Sceptile. I did ask the people at the table, since I saw Grovyle, do you also have a Sceptile? And they said no. I was like, alright. And I decided while I was there, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I've tried searching for this for a while. I may have seen it online a couple times, but either it was going to have to ship to me, or was out of my range, or whatever. I haven't found it at conventions before. I haven't even found it at retro game stores. But I decided to ask about it anyways. So, they didn't have Sceptile, and I decided to follow up and say, okay, well, I don't know if this is going to be there either. Do you have Feebas as a plush? And they said yes. And my eyes widen up like, wait, what? Actually? I was not expecting a yes out of that. Feebas is this Pokemon that has been infamous for me and probably some other Pokemon fans for G3, for Gen 3, and is so difficult to catch and evolve. There's a reason why he was the last one for me to complete the Pokedex and 100% complete the Sapphire game, and subsequently my brother's Ruby game. But now, I have the opportunity to get a Feebas plush. I have him. I own him. He is mine, finally, after almost 20 years. He's here. My boy. Oh, it was wonderful. So, this lady probably thought it was nuts, which is fair. But my reaction was pretty much something like that. I yelled right because Kevin's table is right across. So when I saw this, I yelled, "Kevin! I found it!" He just had to look up and he saw me holding this. I even asked the lady, I'm like, okay, I will actually buy both of these, but I also need to get a photo before I leave. And I had a photo which I will link. I showed it on Instagram and Twitter and everything like that. I have a photo where I'm holding this thing high up in my hands in admonishment as I finally own Feebas as a plush. I love Pokemon plushes. I'm not aiming to get every single Pokemon as a plush. Some I want more than others. And Feebas, infamously, is one of them. And I have him here. So both of these are made by Ollie Factory. Not the same as most other producers of Pokemon plushes, but it's still accurate. Still got the thing. Still works. My boy is here. I also made a funny TikTok about it when I was leaving after I picked up the shirt. I was grabbing, packing up everything and going on the escalator going down from the convention center. I decided, I want to do, because I've done this before where I put something on the escalator steps coming down and then I would pick it up as it got to the bottom. So I waited after a while of people walking through, because a whole bunch of people exiting by that time I was going, and I made sure to wait long enough to make sure, okay, nobody's going to be on here, I can put Feebas on there and film this, and I did this so perfectly. And it was almost one take. It was technically 2 takes, but practically 1 take. I took Feebas. I saw it was a pretty empty escalator. I think there was only 2 or 3 people that just walked on at the top. I yeeted him across to the escalator, and it landed perfectly on his side on the steps. So then I started, so it's like, all right, I got the camera ready. I'm recording it, and I'm letting him drift down, and I pick him up at the end. I stopped the film there. I cut back to me, selfie mode. I'm holding it in my hand and holding him up high. I will post, if I didn't already post that on my other channel, Maniac for Bricks More, check it out on there. Because that video was glorious. The second part of it, holding him up, I did retake, but it was so little of it compared to the rest of it. I was so happy with the first part being 1 take. It was awesome. I guarantee everybody looked at me strangely. Even when I was just waiting by the escalator and looking up at the steps coming down, it's like, what is he doing here? Why has he got his stuff? Why is he holding this fish? Yeah, now it makes sense. It was great to end Retro World Expo on that high note of getting a Feebas plush finally. That's why I had to save him for last for this haul video. It took me 12 minutes to talk about a t-shirt and 2 plushes, but it was worth it. And all this artwork was worth talking about as well. And all the different artists, like I said, link in the description down below to every single one of them, where to find them on social media. They have multiple social media, so you can try them out in other places if you're interested. Yeah, they are incredible. There are some new ones I've discovered. There are some ones I already enjoy. I'm happy to continue supporting them. And that was big for me. Like I said before, one of the biggest things I take out of conventions are the people and getting these personal interactions with people based on sharing the same hobbies. And I think it's safe to say that I have not only met new people, but rekindled some friendships and furthering some friendships from ones because of this, even if it was just for a couple hours on Saturday. I hope everyone else who had a booth and was there for the weekend enjoyed themselves and had a great time with Retro World Expo. I know that my friend really appreciated a lot of the artwork that I gave to him from a couple different artists in here. Some of those duplicates that I mentioned earlier. That was awesome. I have Feebas. My boy is here. What a good boy. I'm gonna need a new shelf. I already have a shelf of Pokemon plushes that's bursting open. There's so many of them. I need to put him on a new shelf now. Especially now with Grofile. He's a bit taller than most of them. But still love him. This is amazing. Alright. I'm gonna go. I have even more artwork. I've been gathering over the past couple of years and finding the right places to put them. So thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you went to Retro World Expo, Let me know what your experience was like. And if you did any certain things or met certain people, I'd love to hear about it. I hope you had a great time as well. Take care. I don't know when the next video game video I will have is. I've made a few of them in the past. I've wanted to make a lot more of them. But, you know, with the new computer, hopefully I can. And some recording software, hopefully I can. I just don't know when it's going to be. I've been working on this for years. In and out of other things, other projects. And I'd like to make some of my visions come true. But if I can't, I'm happy to support others who can. Take care. Have a good one.